Let me just close this. Right. Is anybody else really cold? Just one sec. Right, so that's better. I'm warm. Anyway, guys, it's me, Drenless, pronounced Drenless, and not pronounced. So The Voice ended recently, and I wanted to talk about, the winner. How I didn't really like the winning contestant, and how it seemed a bit, dare I say, biased that he won in the first place, but apparently I can't do that because my last video, it was actually copyright claimed by The Voice, company. So that's great. They said that the less than a minute of video that I use that's available for free on their site, I'll be putting a link down to it. You can watch the entire show for free online, but apparently I'm not allowed to, say, hey, this is fair use, can you go away? But apparently, so I did the fair use claim and everything, and it was refused, and it was blocked in, every country ever. And I really wanted that to be my thing, I wanted to be the guy who talks about The Voice. But apparently I can't be that, people would watch YouTube and go onto Twitter and see me tweet something and they'd be like, oh hey, that's that guy who talks about The Voice. But no more. Even though I was incredibly generous with my video, dare I say. I even deleted a segment where I really just went to town on Kelly Rowland and how I think she's a weird piece of shit. I cut that part out and I was really nice saying, The Voice used to be good. It didn't. It's always been terrible, but I tried to be better, and I was like, well, what am I going to do now? So I thought, why don't I make a video about a shitty movie instead? Really prove that I'm a cool YouTuber. And I was like, but I don't have any shitty movies to make a video about. But then I remembered that I bought this movie from Kmart about 6 years ago for $4, so. This film is called The Giant King. Let me get it right up there and work how it's backwards. But it's really, some of it's not that great, some of it is astounding, and some of it is just, oh, please God, strangle me with my own scarf. The blurb to this film that is on the back of the box is really, it's weird, it's not the movie at all. When I first got this, I read this and I was like, fuck, this is going to be so shit. But yeah, let's read it. The Giant King tells the story of Whitey, who is a three-wheeled robot with a need for speed and adventure. He has a magic chain for a tail, which is used to subdue his mortal enemy, Big Green. Big Green is a 10-headed and 10-armed giant robot whose goal in life is to conquer the robotic world and destroy a powerful controlling satellite in orbit around. So, you know exactly what kind of movie this is going to be. It's going to be boring. It's going to be terrible. You're probably going to open up with a shot of the sky and some cartoon music plays as it sort of pans down. So, well, let's go. Hang on. Just 1 second. Yep, that's it. So yeah, We don't start on the sky. We start on an epic battle of epic proportions. Because that's why I said epic so many times, because it's double epic. Holy shit, it is so hot. That's better. So, yeah, it's an epic battle. It's honestly just really well done and really well made, and you're like, you watch this and you're like, what the fuck? Why is this animation so sort of awesome? But anyway, I'll give you a quick summary. This white guy here is Hanuman. This big green guy here is Toto-kan. They have a cool battle. He's got a chain for a tail, you know, if you remember from the blurb.
You're late again, Mr. Hanuman.
Better late than not at all, Sir Toto-kan.
Die! You think you can hurt me, huh?
But I know what can destroy you.
Ah, you think you know?
He grabs him, and then a satellite fires a big arrow, and it basically does another big bang. You'll learn that because later on in the video, a character gives away like a throwaway line of dialogue, and it's like, oh yeah, that big green arrow that hit our country, that was like basically, that restarted our civilization, man. Isn't that wacky? 1,000,000 days later, yes it says days, we see a fun little mosquito guy buzzing around. Need some little representation for the kids, you know, some little fun little creature that they can look onto. However, he is grabbed out of the air, gets unscrewed, and used as a pimple, because I didn't need to sleep tonight.
Don't tell me you're going to sell this scrap metal. With this little piece, what are you going to do? Make a pimple? Labor cost, transport cost. Is it really worth it? Try thinking, okay? You shouldn't just take whatever you see. I'm sick of it. All day today I haven't made a single stinking thing. Just give me one good piece of scrap.
But then, a big bulldozer dude, who's friends with this little guy who's using another robot as a part of himself, pulls up our big green friend Toto-kan and is like, I'm gonna be rich off all this scrap. And so you're like, oh, well, they basically use, you know, dead robots, waste not, want not, and they use them to improve themselves, right? Sort of like a Frankenstein sort of society, but a bit different, you know? It sounds normal in theory, because, you know, you got the metal guys, and they're made of metal, and the corpses are made of metal, so let's improve ourselves and rebuild ourselves stronger than we ever were. But this pimple guy is selling, you know, Toto-kan as scrap, and he's like, hey, if you can cut the chain, if you can't cut the chain, then buy this big green dude, and you can have this little guy just for free, you know, extra scrap.
Book your scrap metal team at the same great location. Come on in, put your money up. Vintage steel like you've never seen. First come, first serve. Everything must go.
Our wallet. One arm, please, on the neck. I got it. See that?
How much for the little one?
Oh, if you can cut the chain, it's yours.
This little robot called Dr. Watt comes along and does electricity. Get it? Like what? Like the measure of electricity. Like the measure of electricity. His name is Dr. Watt. And he does electricity. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that great? Little funny little throwaway gag. But the big green dude wakes up and he starts, you know.
Can't cut it. If you can't cut it, give someone else a try.
Killing people, but then he goes back to sleep, and a little camera dude climbs up. And the weird thing about this camera guy is, you know how you'd probably put the eyes of a camera on the front, you know, at the lens? This guy's eyes are on the side. So he walks around, let's get something comedic to extend, like this poster tube from Pyrocynical. He walks around like this, and if he wants to watch something, he goes, whoa, that's crazy.
Hey, don't.
But that's normal, but he's a bit different now. He's a bit of an idiot, you know, the big green guy. He's awake, but he's kind of dumb. And now that they're both alive, the people of this town are going to help them. They're going to help rebuild them. They're going to help them find out who they are, and maybe send them on their way onto their big adventure with some supplies and stuff. But no, because this is a kids movie, and we don't have happy friendship in our kids movies. We have violent, crazed mobs chasing after people, trying to dismantle them and use them.
Get him! Whoever can get him, you can take whatever part you like. Don't let him get away!
So that happens. There's some funny little dialogue exchanged, and then, you know, we get the sense they don't know who they are.
What is this, a parade? You the drum major or something?
They've forgotten. They're amnesiac. I probably already said that. But that's what they are. They're double amnesiac because there's two of them. It's double, like two, double. So they're amnesiac. So they crash through the wall, and they hit the ground, and they're dead.
You must to follow them! Pull back!
No, I'm just kidding. The Totsukan has a horrific nightmare sequence that... won't give me nightmares, I swear.
Rama will destroy us.
Ram.
Destroy Ram. Ram, 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 Ram. Destroy us. Ram, 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 Ram.
Won't give me nightmares, I swear. And the little dudes that pop out of his head say, Rama will destroy us, will destroy Ram. He wakes up and he's a bit of an idiot, so he's like, oh, there were things in my head. And the white guy's like, quiet, I'm trying to concentrate. But he hasn't even said anything yet. Like, he's just smacking a rock with the chain, and the guy's just woke up, and the guy's like, shut the fuck up! Jesus Christ!
Please. Please. I need to concentrate, okay?
Trying to smack this chain with a rock, dude. God. And then the big green guy actually starts talking and he doesn't say anything. He's like, oh, well, that's what do you have to be afraid of? You're a massive green monster. See, you can probably tell that the moral of this movie is don't judge a book by its cover, right? Kind of, but we'll get to that later. So they decide, they're like, well, what are our names going to be? And he's like, I'll call you Big Green, because you're big and green. And then Big Green is like, well, I'll call you Whitey, because you look like a turnip. I've been calling this guy an idiot, but I actually didn't, until like my fourth viewing of this movie, I didn't realize that he was calling him a turnip, because he's got fucking turnip things on his head.
So, Big Green, what's my name?
Big Green. I like it. Big Green. That really says kind of who I am. In that case, I'm gonna give you a name.
Forget it.
A guy like you? Name like Whitey.
That's cool. But Big Green, well, he's like, well, I'll call you Rama, because he's got it on its back. He's like, Rama. That's a name I haven't heard. Ever. I don't think I have ever heard that name. But why was it so dramatic when I said that? Mysteries abound.
Or would you rather Rama?
Ram. Where'd you get that name from? And why does it sound so familiar?
It's right here.
Where?
Here.
Where?
How you gonna see it?
Where?
They wrote it right here.
And he makes it very clear that they are not friends. Like, at all. They're not friends. They're just stuck together. Like, because that's not what friends are. They're not bound by a chain. Decide that they have a goal, and it's cut the chain. So as they're walking around, there's no talking about the violent, angry mob that literally tried to tear them to pieces and use them as scrap. There's no, wow, dude, that was so crazy what we went through. Oh, hell yeah, dude, that was fucking weird. I don't really like you, but are you okay? No, there's just a comedic gag about how Big Green doesn't understand, like, distance.
Hey, can you walk a little faster? A little distance, please. They'll think we're dating or something.
Like, he walks into a guy, he walks into him, and then he's like, no, get away from me. He's like, okay, I'll go all the way back here. And he's like, click, because he's on a chain. And then there's a song called Who We Are. And you know what? Let me just tell you something. The music in this movie is amazing. I don't know who made this movie. I don't know who made this music because I don't read, credits and stuff. But honestly, it's insane. This music is fucking awesome. It's really good. Whoever made this music, kudos to you.
Come from different worlds, but fate has brought us here now. Travel different roads, we seek a single path out. Born of different homes, seek a single love out. Disparate hopes and fears, we share a single goal now. To find out, oh, just who we are.
They come to a crossroads and they're like, should we go left or right? And then he's like, Big Green is like, well, we'll go right because there's some smoke over there. And Whitey's like, oh, why would we go towards the smoke, idiot? And he's like, because it could be civilization. Then Whitey's like, that actually makes a lot of sense. Well done. We'll go left because there's more smoke on the left. But it's like a disastrous amount. It's a ridiculous amount. It's a dangerous amount of smoke. I've seen fires and I know that they put off a lot of smoke. But yeah. The power plant looks to be on fire.
We got something oily. We gotta put the fire out. Shut the bell.
The bell's broken.
Well, then turn off the main switch. But the main switch is in the fire, sir. No one's going in there. It's in the fire. We'll do whatever you have to shut this thing down, and we'll all be blown to smithereens.
We learn that Whitey is pretty gifted in stealth. He's like, you stay here, and I'll sneak up. He's really good. He knows how to stealth his way through a situation. And he turns around and Big Green's right there. They decide they're going to cut the chain by throwing it into some gears, you know, like that rotate. You know what gears are? I'll show you some gears right here on this segment of the on my thing. That's a gear. But yeah, so he's like, I'll put the chain in there. So they're like, let's throw it. And because Big Green is a fucking idiot, he throws it too high above the hook. And it's like, well, let's pull it down. And then Big Green is a fucking idiot and pulls it too hard.
Not that hard.
And then Whitey is like, well, let's let the chain go so I can slowly lower myself down. And because Big Green is a fucking...
Pull it back a little.
Pull it or let go.
Pull it up, baby. Pull me up.
I don't know what you want.
But yeah, the chain won't cut on the gears. We learned that there is literally no threat to fall into the gears because Whitey falls in it and it's like comedic. But by stopping the gears, they've accidentally turned themselves into heroes and turned off all the fire so they can disable the plant. We get a new song called Hero. There's a hilarious montage of them trying to cut the chain but accidentally, you know, saving people. You know, the train one is kind of their fault. And this old man is like, I'm going to cut this chain. And he's trying to cut it with his chainsaw. But he can't. And he drinks oil and he's all better. And he tells the story that the chain is special. It's made of the material used to make war robots.
So, this chain, it's special?
Yep. Sure is. It's a... This here chain's made of a special material. They use it especially for making war robots.
Oh, you mean robots for war?
Uh-huh, you got it.
This movie goes for
an hour and a half.
We learn that Tosakan is a monster that wants to destroy Rama, a big floating satellite. And Hanuman is Rama's best soldier. And the only thing that can destroy Tosakan is something called Rama's bolt, a big arrow. But Hanuman has to hold him still so the arrow can hit him.
Now, legend goes like this. About 1 million days ago, at a time when there's robots and monsters. And as it was, well, this one monster robot, he wanted to destroy Rama.
so he could rule the world all alone. So a war started. Now that Tosakan, he's a mighty powerful fella. The only thing could stop him was Rama's bolt. So Rama sent Hanuman down there to take a hold of that Tosakan while he shot him. But that Tosakan got away to stop the whole thing there. Now Rama had to use the power of his bolt to destroy everything. People say that today that Tosakan is still alive.
But yeah, the only thing that can cut the chain is Toso-Khan's chakram. Remember that? That will come in important later. Then we get this unnamed red guy who sings a song called, Rama is the creator of war.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's look out show!
A battle new about to begin. There's a battle great to be seen. Rama, Rama, the reason for such war.
Don't give up yet, listen here. Upakan is a weapon near. A will away to keep us safe and sound from that war. Upakan is back with brand new weapons for sale to help protect you from the evil powers of the despicable Ram. On sale right here at a discount price. Where'd it go?
Then we get this little Rusty kid who sings a song called Rusty's Song.
Rusty, yes, it's true.
Rusty sneezes rust, so her name is Rusty. That's like having a kid that coughs up blood and calling him Blood. Like, oh, there goes blood again. Coughing up blood. And the age of this Rusty kid is like, it's really kind of bizarre. Like, she has a job and she constantly complains about her paycheck. However, as we'll later see, she also gets bullied by, like, literal children. So, then we realise that the red guy has a bit of a thing for Tosakan.
is true. Please wait for me, sir. I will save all I can to build an army and wait for you, sir.
Then we get some of the most frustrating dialogue I have ever heard.
Give me that. But I'm not finished playing it. I want to play. You got a problem with that? Ooh, but I'm not done playing with it. I'm going to play first. But I want to play too. See? Now you broke it. You broke it. No, you broke it. You broke it even more. But I was still playing with it. You played with it. You fix it. You got to fix it. Nah, you broke it. You got to fix it. No.
But there's a funny little gag about this car. Our protagonists meet Rusty. You know, we haven't just been spending all this time on her lately because it's one of those movies that likes to just introduce random characters and be like, well, it's like, you know, the action scene from like a Quentin Tarantino movie, and then there's a guy at the side and he's like, oh no, please don't shoot me. And then the rest of the movie is like, yep, that was old Roger. Roger was a bit of a fuck up for most of his life, but somewhere down the road, Roger learned how to stand up for himself. And he comes in like later, and he's a big part, looking at Bruce Willis from Pulp Fiction. So yeah, they're friends now, and it's all better, you know. But we cut to an ominous shot in the sky. And they're in the bar now, which is another example of the really weird mix of, you know, adult and child humour. And we met this, like, bartender who's really kind of, like, Scottish.
You'll be having the same, will ya? A hero like you will need something like this.
And it's pretty weird. But we also meet the best character in the movie, Brooks, the mountain climber, who explains that
There are two types of beings in this world. The first are those who know their duty and do it. The second are those who do first and then realize their duty. Now I know you have no memory. You just have to keep on doing. And one day, you'll realize just what your duty is.
You know, it's actually a really nice way of looking at things. You know, there's a purpose. You're here for a reason. You might know that reason, or you might have to figure it out. Brooks tells us that his duty is to climb to the midday sun. And you're like, fucking idiot robot. But remember that. Because it will come in later. Because everything in this movie is a setup for a later plot point that all makes sense once you get to like the second half. So Rusty is with those two bully kids again, and they're going to a magnet farm, which is pretty interesting. Another little glimpse into their exciting little world. The magnet farm is used to gather metal and suck like the energy from them. Like, you know how everything has energy? Like, I'm not being like, everything has an energy. You've all got positive energy, and you've all got negative energy. No, I mean like science energy, you know, like electricity sort of thing, but not that, it's energy. So they take the energy from the metal and they use it to power everything. Nice little farm. And the bully kids tell us that the dividing line is safe.
You see that dividing line? You dare stand near that dividing line? It looks dangerous. Wimp! You see, if you don't go past that line, there's no problem. Still dangerous. I think
But he turns up the magnet all the way, and in a little show of, you know, children trying to best each other, they accidentally get sucked onto the magnet. And they're like, well, guess what? I've got this key that can shut it off. This metal key. And I can throw it.
Hold on tight. Don't let me go. I'm not letting go. Shut it off.
So Rusty and the bully kid are stuck. And then the other kid rushes to the bar and he's like,